All litters are going to get a little bit more dusty over time. Clumping litter, it gets peed on, the clumps get tossed. The crystal litters and scoon litter are unique that they continue to absorb and you dump all of it after a certain amount of time. How are these litters going to perform after they've soaked up a little bit of water? Let's test those again and see if they've become any more dusty after some use, simulated use. We're gonna put 1 full cup of water in each of these. Wait, what? Do you hear that? It's sizzling! We've got Rice Krispies for cat litter! Snap, crackle, pop, sizzle! What? So we're gonna add another half cup. So we gotta see that sizzling again. We gotta hear that again. That was too funny. My cat Muna, she gets scared of everything. The first time she pees on this, she's gonna think a cat is hissing from behind. My gosh, this is wild. You can even see a little bit of like steam or gas being released. We've got hissing cat litter. You pee on it, it hisses back. Ooh. We'll wait for that to soak up. A little bit of crackling. This one's more like snap, crackle, pop, like Rice Krispies. No hissing, but crackling. More crackling. You can see that the wood pellets, oh my gosh, holy expansion, Batman. Look at that. It's full to the top. Let's stir them up. I got a little spatula from my kids' playground. We're gonna stir these up here just to kind of let them do what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to stir it up. And then we're gonna let it dry some more. You can see some water down here on the bottom. There's water that hasn't soaked up into this yet. All right, let's stir this guy up. There's no, there's a little bit of water at the bottom here. Oh wow, this, you know, these smaller crystals are a lot harder to stir. They pack in there. When you have these smaller crystals, they pack in tightly. You get a lot more litter in a small package. So again, you know, you can't compare litter by weight. Litter by volume is the only way to compare litter, especially when you're looking at price. Comparing litter by weight for price is not an accurate comparison. So this is the microcrystals from Vibrant Life. I didn't see any water pooled at the bottom. These crystals are a little bit smaller than the Fresh Step. So again, we've got more cat litter in the same volume doing its job. And definitely no water is at the bottom of this cat litter either. So here we have the wood pellets separated into 2 containers. wood pellets seems to me to absorb half of its volume in water. So we have, 2 cups volume of the wood pellets, and every single wood pellet has been expanded, absorbed, saturated to its fullest and breaking down. It's still a little bit moist underneath, but there's no unused wood pellets. All 2 cups have been saturated with the 1 cup for this brand of wood pellets anyway. Alright, seems like the Skoon litter is still fairly moist. You can see it's kind of shiny in here. Gosh, looks like there's even a rock. That's definitely a rock. Skoon litter is the most interesting litter I've ever seen. We got definitely some different varieties of stone in here occasionally that you can find. Skoon litter doesn't expand like wood pellets does, but it definitely doesn't soak up that much water per volume. You got 2 cups of Skoon litter soaking up 1 cup of water, and no more than that. I picked up some of the Skoon litter in my hand and rolled it around. You can see there's all this chalky substance that's now dried on my hand. When comparing all of these litters that are not clumping litters, these are all litters that are meant to be stirred and then thrown away as a batch when they're used. The Skoon litter is definitely the most moist. It's still very wet. Micro crystals from Vibrant Life. We got the crystals from Fresh Step, the crystals from Loop Litter, and the crystals from Pretty Litter.
Pretty, that one, that one, and that one.
Lift it up and watch them all go down.
Woo! 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 Oh, this one's spilling off. Daddy, that yellow one is like spilling off. And that's off good. Woo!
All right.
Dust.
Yeah,
that one has, and
dust.
these, I think these 2 have the most dust.
Number one.
I think these 2 have the most dust.
Mm-hmm.
I can't decide, but this one or this one has the most dust.
Yeah.
Pretty Litter did slide off the edge during this test, but after allowing all the dust to slide off, you can see that it still had the least amount of dust. I muted the sound of my kids' TV show, but Skoon was performed on a separate piece of paper as it would not fit with the 4 crystals. This is the slide-off test for Skoon after use. Skoon, again, has a very heavy dust. Alright, we're gonna slide it on down.
And then the back is makes it like a rainbow kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of like there's some dripping here. And it feels so good. See more.
Which one looks more dusty?
This one.
And then what's next most dusty?
I think this one. Wait, it's this one.
Yeah. And then what's the next dustiest?
This one. And then this one.
This one, the blue one's the least dusty?
Yeah. I don't know. These 2 look both the same
These 2
amount
look
of
about the
dust.
same. This one the most, and this one the second most?
And this one cut.
Alright.
This big cut.
This is again the Skoon litter, fresh out of the bag, so we can compare with the used stuff. There's not as much dust as it hasn't been stirred and abused and used.
Now, I don't want to touch that.
6 crystals.
I don't want to touch that. Let's see this one.
If you-
Those in yellow one
If they
feels
feel
better
wet,
than
then
that.
let me know if they feel wet.
This one feels a little bit wet, and it sticks to my hands.
This one feels wet,
And
and it kind of sticks
to my hands, and
These
it's
two
super
feel the
sparkly.
same.
This one's got smaller crystals. This one's got big ones.
Yeah.
And
wanna feel
this
this
one
one.
has medium ones.
Yeah.
Huh. These don't feel that much.
My
sticky.
hands are so sparkly.
Look, it's
now.
sticky. It feels sort of wet. Okay. And they're sparkly. This one feels squishy.
Yeah.
Feels a little
And
bit
powdery. This one does not feel like rocks. Squishy.
And it feels so good.
Kind of squishy. Kind of squishy. Wait, it's wet. This one's wet. They're all wet. But look, the powder. Look, that dust is on my fingers,
Rosie,
so the powder
just don't
sticks.
dust everywhere.
Okay? This one feels crystally, and the crystals are a little bit bigger than this one. This one feels so
It sticks to my hands just the same.
Look, here's this big one, and I smushed it.
So the pretty litter feels bigger than the loop
Look.
litter?
Yeah. Even
So,
look.
from how big they
The
are,
same
the
thing
crystals
as our
in here
top
are smallest.
assessment.
Then this one, and then this one.
Okay.
Small, bigger, bigger, and the biggest.
Mm.
And they all stick to your hands.
But these two are pretty close to the same, real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Mostly.
really look the same.
Which one feels the driest?
This one feels more wet than the big one.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels kind of wet.
Ooh, this one feels
rock
more wet
sticking.
than this one. And this one feels more wet than this one. So the
The
smaller,
smaller it is, the more wet it feels?
yeah, the smaller the crystals, the more wet.
Probably because the bigger crystals have opportunity for air to circulate around them, and the smaller ones are more compact and tight together.
For some reason, this feels squishy because it's wet.
Yeah.
The wet made it squishy.
Yeah. And it expanded. How about this stuff?
Break this rock.
How
And
does this
sort of-
feel dry?
It feels
Does that
sort
feel the
of
driest?
wet.
What do you think?
I think it feels mostly dry.
Yeah.
Whoa!
With my hands.
Look!
We'll
Spilled one.
we'll clean it up later, I guess.
Most of it is on the chair. That's
Look.
good.
It's sticking.
It's
Now
sticking.
that is a
So
good
the
substitution.
smaller
It's
the
sticky.
crystals, the more wet it is, and the bigger the pieces, the drier it is.
Has more time for air
Wow.
to circulate around it.
And all the crystals stick to your hands. These two are mostly pretty close, but this one's a little bit bigger, a little bit drier.
Daddy, the smaller
This one
the
is
small-
squishy.
the smaller ones in here stick for some reason. I don't know why, but the bigger ones, not that much of a stickiness, but the smaller ones are.
Okay, bye.
This is so you can have a closer look yourself at each of the litters. Again, these are the used litters that my children were just playing with. Ten days later, I put 1/2 cup of water into 3/4 cup of the remaining used litter. Again, it has had time to dry 10 days. And this is the remaining water poured off into a measuring cup. The first one was Scoon, and this one is the Vibrant Life Mini Crystals. It's okay. I decided to keep the audio and speed of one clip just so you could feel like you're in my home. It's also self-explanatory to why I did mute these clips.
Doesn't it look cool? That one's like green.
Vibrant Life had quite a bit of water remaining. Here we have Loop Litter, and we're gonna dump that in. Loop Litter also had a lot remaining. This is Fresh Step Crystals. Testing Fresh Step Crystals. Not too much. And this is Pretty Litter. Pretty Litter did very well. The green color is from the color change feature. However, I must note that the Loop Litter and Pretty Litter, the small tiny crystal litters, did have a little bit of remaining water after I had dumped them into the measuring cup. So each of these pictures on the right here add a little bit of water. So this test wasn't as accurate as it could have been. To stay consistent with the other tests, I am using 2 cups of litter for the clumping litters. However, I'm only using 1/2 cup of water because 1 full cup of water, I imagine I would end up with a giant brick in each bowl. I am separating the clumps from the unused litter. Later, we will measure the unused remaining litter to determine the absorbency, and also testing the clumps. Dr. Elsie's clumping clay litter is obviously going to have the strongest clump. World's Best cat litter, corn-based, is a bit soft, as well as Litter-Made corn cob litter is also soft. From left to right, you can see least to most litter remaining. These cups weren't perfectly level. The white line shows a better level. After about another hour of time, I decided to test the clumps again. Dr. Elsie's obviously is going to be the best, so I pulled it out of the way. The one on the left is World's Best, and the one on the right is Litter-Made. Both are weak clumps, but after the extended time, I feel like World's Best on the left here was a little bit stronger than Litter-Made. But Litter-Made has better absorbency and lower dust. Here's a breakdown of the estimated costs of the litters. The first 3 are the clumping litters. You can really see the difference between cost per weight and volume between Dr. Elsie's and the other 2. Scoon through Vibrant Life are all non-clumping litters, litters that you reuse. Notice that Loop, the normal cost is $40. Introductory cost is $30. Loop is by far the most expensive in every way. Wood pellets acts like no other litter and is an animal in its own. It requires its own sifting system, and the method that you take care of it is completely different than any other litter, and so it stands alone. If your cats will actually use it, it's super cheap and a great way to save money. I'll have more to say about this in the next and final video. So our final video, we're going to test odor control by using sardines. We're going to bury some sardines because, well, you eat a fish, you poop a fish.
Yeah. The final video will also have a conclusion.